So da-da-dee-ba. Yeah, that kind of thing. Yeah.
Yep. Nice one. Oh. Is it good? Is it like full body? Can you see my full body? Or
just from the side angle, I want to kind of try and get the overhangs.
Right.
No,
My name's Ciaran Ryan and we're here in Slate Room Studios in Pencaitland and we're recording my second solo album.
My name's Duncan Lyle and I'm producing this album with the Ciaran Ryan Band. Met Ciaran through playing bass with him, did some gigs with a band that he plays in called Dallahan. Actually did a couple of gigs with the Ciaran Ryan Band. So I kind of knew all the guys anyway, got chatting with Ciaran. He was interested in a previous album that I'd produced and asked kind of what my involvement was with the album. Ciaran then kind of asked me if I'd be interested in producing his album, which delighted to be involved in. Great music.
I've known about Duncan for years, like growing up listening to folk music, and yeah, he's been playing on a lot of albums that I've listened to, but also as a producer, you're aware of who's like producing albums at the time, so I've seen I've listened to a lot of stuff he's produced and I've been really into it.
Pretty hefty schwang.
It's a bit of a hefty schwang, yeah. Studio engineer here, Gary Boyle. This is his studio. It's in the same building as another studio called Castle Sound, which is a very well-known studio among Scottish musicians. It was such a great experience working with him on the Elephant Sessions album that when Ciaran asked me about producing his album, I suggested that this would be a great place to come and do it.
It took me like a year to decide who to get to produce the album because it's such a big decision, big commitment, you know, it can go one way or the other, but yeah, it's been absolutely the right choice. Taking it in a new direction, but also he knows what I want.
It's nice working with him. He's the most focused person in the world, which is quite handy because I tend to lose track of what I'm focusing on every 30 seconds, so having someone like that is kind of good for grounding the project and keeping everyone thinking about the right thing. He's been an amazing person to work with.
I think I might have fucked that bit I was asking you about.
I play accordion and I've played it since I was about 6. My granddad used to play, so kind of had a musical family. My brother Chris, who's on the album, he also played, so it was kind of you do what your older brother does when you're a kid.
I'm getting my bottom end out, man.
It's quite a thin sound.
Been playing with Ciaran for 8 years or something now, different bands and stuff. This is kind of something different to what I usually do because there's drums and bass and it's a bit more fiery than what I'm used to doing.
Into the last note of the phrase, yeah. So you're doing a push on that rather than it being straight.
Met Ciaran a few years ago and ended up playing sessions with him. Carried on doing music from there and it's been enjoyable. Did a session on his first record, got me to do that, and then we've just kind of been playing ever since. So been good. I've been playing for ages at the moment. I'm with the Old Blind Dogs and play with Duncan Chisholm, great fiddler. Rock and roll band called Mystery Juice, who went for ages, did a lot of gigs in Russia. Yeah, played with a lot of folk. Played with Nuala Kennedy for ages, great flute player, singer from Ireland. The Unusual Suspects, big folk orchestra, lots of stuff.
Same with those drum, like, I might have to focus on them, but we'll see. You never know.
You know, I think that'll just sound messy if they can just go from there to there in an instant. I think that'd be cool. Even just a subby synth thing, just to give it it might not even need it in the mix. It's just live. It adds something.
So I started playing when I was like really young, probably 5 or 6, I think. Just growing up in a sort of Irish folk music playing family. There was just loads of instruments everywhere in my house all the time. I moved to Edinburgh when I was like 17 and I started just playing in the sessions and eventually started a few bands. In 2019 is when I released my first solo album. It's called Banjaxed. That was just before COVID. I released the album and then I got an offer for a festival to play that material, so I just sort of brought the guys along who played on the album and that became the sort of solo band. And had a few gigs and then COVID struck and then yeah, getting back to it. Well, I think you have to like banjos if you're going to listen to this album, but it's a lot of like self-written tunes and arrangements, but it's very, I don't know, I would say it's like Irish trad, but with this kind of heavier sound. You know, there's like a bit of electro, a bit of rock and roll in there. Quite big, quite heavy sound, but also quite raw and yeah.
Rock and roll banjo record, I would say.
Yeah.
Try to get a bit high energy, get the banjo at the forefront, get some good grooves and hopefully make people dance.
It's quite a hard one to slap a style on, I suppose, because Ciaran's playing is, in theory, it's very Irishy based tune playing. Not only the backing is quite rocky and swampy and dancey at times, even his playing is steps away from the Irish world and becomes a bit more riffy and atmospheric moments and that, rather than it all being, you know, traddy. You play a certain style of music with someone for years and then suddenly they have a solo thing which, although it still sounds like him, it has gone in a completely different direction. He's got a dark side.
At the centre of all of this is Ciaran and the banjo. A lot of his own original tunes, Scottish or Irish trad influenced tunes and melodies that he's bringing with his own kind of take on it. But in terms of the overall sound of the album, sometimes it gets quite heavy kind of sounding. They're not afraid to use distortion pedals, you know, but there's a real kind of mix, you know, there's some really beautiful sounding, really acoustic kind of sounds on the album, all the way to like kind of distorted guitars, heavy drums. So it's great. I love cross-genre, I love crossover stuff. I work a lot in this kind of world, working with trad music, particularly trad instrumental music, crossing over into kind of other genres, so being influenced by rock music or electronic music or funk or whatever it might be, classical. And Ciaran's doing that in his own way. A lot of Ciaran's influences coming through in the sound, as well as obviously the rest of the guys in the band as well. They're all bringing their own musical identity to the project. or just soaring and staying at the high note kind of thing?
Here it comes.